Hello. Some people wait for 100 people to show up. I got one. I'm happy for that. Thank you for joining me. Without further ado, I'm going to continue reading from this fabulous piece of literature by Sonny Davis called True Earth Whisperer. One thing I am going to do before I get going here is see if I can wrangle up some all chat here. Let's see if I can find everybody in the chat. There it is. Filter all. Real or not for real. I think you are real. It's real cool that you came to the reading. I appreciate that. And deplorable ilk. Hello. Good afternoon to you as well. There we go. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this. It's hot. It's like California here today, or at least Florida. It's, I don't know, it's not too muggy, but it is a beautiful, hot day. So I hope everybody else is enjoying it. And if nothing else, just put your feet up, find a cool breeze, and I will lull you into relaxation. Or not. I'm kind of awkward, but I am gonna spread the word here. This is a fabulous book. I got a little busy this week. I meant to do it Tuesday. It's still this week, so I'm a woman of my word. We are going to Uzbekistan. Wow, good to know ya. Thanks for coming. And like I said, if you don't already have a copy of this, True Earth Whisperer by Sonny Davis, I highly recommend that you go get one of your own. You can get it in hardcover or paperback or on Kindle on Amazon. You just search for True Earth Whisperer Sonny Davis book if you're feeling insecure about life, and I guarantee you will be able to purchase one of these for a very reasonable price and have your own copy. Yeah, it's hot. I'm in the shade. I got some OJ, and I probably take a jump in the river after. I'm not gonna lie, but so yeah, we left off at the end of chapter 10, and if math serves me correctly, we will begin on chapter 11. For those of you reading along, that's page 64. All right, Big Mouth. So chapter 11 is called No Cure for Curiosity. What we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning. That is a quote by Werner Heisenberg. Back to the book. I feel moved to examine something foundational, the scientific method. For a claim to be scientific, it must start with a naturally observed phenomenon, something occurring in the real physical world. Only then can a hypothesis be formulated, a prediction about what might cause that effect. This leads to an experiment where the presumed cause is varied to see if it consistently produces the effect. If it does, the hypothesis is supported. If not, the null hypothesis stands. Simple, clear, elegant. But what happens when this method is bypassed or misapplied? Take the Michelson-Morley experiment, often cited in discussions about Earth's motion or the existence of an ether. Though historically important, it involved a synthetic apparatus, a complex system of mirrors and beams of light. It did not begin with observing a natural phenomenon. Instead, It sought to confirm a theory using constructed tools, not evidence arising naturally. Therefore, it does not meet the full standard of natural science. It may be technological or philosophical inquiry, but not scientific experimentation in the natural sense. Even Albert Einstein acknowledged that no optical experiment could confirm Earth's motion and that experiments can never prove a theory right, only disprove it. Yet, these insights are often misused in debates about Earth's movement. True science, from a zetetic perspective, is a quiet art, inviting us to watch, measure, and feel, allowing the world to speak for itself. Pseudoscience, in contrast, dresses assumption and authority as truth, persuading the mind that illusion is reality and reality only shadow. Many celebrated men, heralded as torchbearers of discovery in the annals of science, have claimed to reveal the secrets of the cosmos, their names etched in history, always to be referenced, never to be forgotten. Yet beneath the surface lies omission, unquestioned presumptions, and pseudo-scientific dogma. No scientific instrument has ever detected the Earth's motion. Every experiment meant to measure it has yielded contrary results. We feel no rotation beneath our feet, no endless spin, only the tremors of earthquakes, which Richter scales dutifully record, marking the vibrations our senses already knew. When all else remains still, one must wonder, if the Earth truly turns, why is its motion so entirely imperceptible? Discernment becomes the lantern, guiding us to observe directly, question boldly, and weigh evidence with both mind and heart. Only then does truth arise, not as decree, but as living experience, leading the seeker through the veils of spectacle and authority into the quiet clarity of knowing. Science is not about clever theories or complex setups. It is about cause and effect, observed and validated through repeatable methods originating in nature. If you start from something man-made, you already know the cause. The experiment becomes redundant, offering nothing new to discover. When observing the natural world, you study what is, not what was manufactured. This distinction is vital, especially in physics and cosmology, where abstract models are often mistaken for reality. I found myself tumbling deeper into cosmology, reading about the cosmic microwave background radiation, thought to be an ancient echo of the Big Bang, then encountering the axis of evil, a cosmic anomaly suggesting the universe might have a preferred direction. This challenges the assumption of a random, directionless cosmos. Perhaps there is a thread running through the universe, a signature of something deeper and intentional. Then there is dark matter, the unseen, unproven skeleton that holds galaxies together. Without it, gravity cannot explain their rotation. Without it, the accepted model collapses like a poorly built IKEA shelf, missing screws and instructions in Swedish. Dark matter is said to make up most of the universe, but no one has directly detected it. It is an invention to explain what cannot be explained, a cosmic placeholder, more theology than physics. That stirred a question in me. And what do you believe? The question hung in the air like incense smoke, lingering, ancient, familiar. I smiled and answered, I believe that I'm still looking. The voice was silent for a moment and said softly, thank you. And then what did you do? It prompted. I sighed, leaning back into the darkness. Then I did what any half-functioning, over-questioning kid would do. I dared to live. I squeezed out what strength I had. I joined the ranks of beavers, cubs, Boy Scouts, even marching band. Those years taught me more about living on Earth than any classroom ever did. I learned to survive in nature, how to use a compass, how to tie knots that wouldn't come undone in the rain, to whittle sticks into spears, whistles, or tools, and to start fires using friction, dried moss, and stubbornness. I built shelters from branches, tarp, and imagination. I identified plants and berries, knowing which were safe and which might kill. We tracked animals, listened to birds, and read the sky for storms. At night, we lay on cold ground, gazing at stars and howling at the moon with distant wolves, like ancestors had done for thousands of years. It felt like secret communion, no catechism required. The elders, my mother Hawkeye being the head leader, told stories around campfires about stars, forest spirits, and people who could read the wind and speak to the earth in ways forgotten. Those nights, beneath smoke-dappled stars, the veil between worlds thinned, reminding us that magic was not gone, only hidden, waiting. You could feel something ancient, like being part of a bigger story, older than textbooks, something indifferent to Copernicus, Newton, or Einstein. It was not about models or theories, but the land beneath your back and the sky above your breath, something simple and sacred. Over the years, I collected badges, small tokens of battles fought, storms weathered, fires built, rivers crossed, and nights braved beneath restless skies. Each patch carried a piece of Earth's untamed memory stitched into it. I earned awards for participation, enthusiasm, and most famously for my never give up attitude. That label stuck better than anyone asking how I was really doing. Honestly, I didn't mind. I beat pity like I beat my drums. The voice leaned in and asked, "Oh, tell me, child of rhythm, when did the beat first find you?" Sound and rhythm have always been part of my life learning. From early days, planking on my grandmother's piano, I trained my fingers. I loved banging pots, pans, and Tupperware like Animal from the Muppets. Noise became repeated noise, which became patterns, which became repeated patterns, then patterns of recognition, then pulse, rhythm, and holding that rhythm. I taught myself, mimicking the world with my mouth, tapping tables, sinking to the hum of existence. Later, I studied with masters, but that initial awakening was God-given. "You listened," the voice said. That is how all great musicians begin, not with instruction, but devotion. So then what did you do? I became a beatboxer, holding my own on mics in hip-hop circles. The stage became a temple. Later, I played drums in bands. Music gave me movement, freedom, structure, trust, timing, and letting go. With hands and legs, I gave everything to the craft, even recording in professional studios. Rhythm taught me to feel Earth's pulse, that eternal, quiet beat, driving us all. Ah, so you sharpened your tools. Good. And what about harmony? What did it teach you? The voice nudged. Harmony is the sacred agreement between differing tones, each unique yet choosing to belong together. It teaches that unity is not sameness, but weaving contrast into coherence. In harmony, tension has a place. Dissonance revolves. Dissonance resolves. And beauty arises, not from perfection, but deep listening. Harmony reveals piece's hidden architecture, where each voice finds its rightful place in the whole. Harmony taught me content, how the right combination of tones could speak to the soul without words. The voice coaxed me deeper. And did you travel far? In my teens, when my body still had strength, I toured across Canada and the US with a world-class drum and bugle corps. We rehearsed daily in heat and performed most nights in massive stadiums and football fields. I played timpani in the stationary pit percussion section, anchoring the storm with rhythm forged through discipline and rehearsal. Despite weariness and fear, I moved forward with faith. Music was my answer. But the voice, your voice, did you fear it? The unseen guide intoned. I did. I feared opening it, feared what might come out or not come out. Eventually, I faced it, studied breath, posture, resonance. I learned to sing, not just technically, but truthfully. Opening the throat healed what had closed it. I taught myself guitar chords and strummed my blues away. The voice summoned memory. And did the music begin to sing you? Yes, absolutely. Music became more than something I did. It became an offering, a current of healing energy flowing through sound and silence when I surrendered control. And beyond music, did you meet this silence? The Ancient One asked. I did. I was initiated into the shamanic arts, drawn to the vision quest. In the heat and darkness of the Native American sweat lodge, singing, praying, sweating, rattling, my skin sat close to soil while my spirit flew with eagles. The drum became earth's heartbeat. The steam became spirit's silence. In those sacred songs, I remembered. The voice pressed. Remembered what? That sound is a bridge to the unseen. Rhythm is not just music, it's medicine. I carry that beat still. Every breath, word, and offering echoes with the pulse of that sacred drum. Then remember this, child of rhythm. The earth's pulse is your own. Keep drumming, keep singing. The soul is always listening. In a quiet, desperate thought, barely a whisper, I skated over the frozen grief of disappointment. Still lost, burdened with questions that may never find answers, carrying such a crucible felt unbearable. I tried to sing my sorrows, praying to make it through a song without breaking into tears, still listening for that quiet voice behind the stars. I lacked the words then, but I felt it, a presence not always comforting or clear, but always there, like fire crackling at the edge of a clearing, like the hush before someone speaks a true word. I noticed things others did not. Patterns in clouds, birds vanishing before storms, stillness before the world shifted. I wondered if nature was trying to tell us something, if Earth had a memory, a voice, a rhythm forgotten by us. School could not teach that part of me, nor could church. They gave answers before I had questions, but beneath stars and trees, everything invited me to ask. And I did. Why is the sky blue? Why do stars twinkle? Why does time feel different in forests than hallways? I was not difficult, just needing to know. Some adults said I was curious, gifted, bright. Others called me a distraction, a daydreamer, a smartass. Both were probably right. The real trouble started when my questions outgrew their categories. When I asked why the world map on the classroom wall looked stretched and distorted. When I asked why the moon followed us home. When I asked why gravity was always assumed but never demonstrated. I did not want to be contrary. I wanted to understand because something inside me knew that if even one pillar was wrong, the whole house might tilt. So I began testing the pillars one at a time, not to destroy, but to discern, not to defy, but to deepen. I wasn't looking to dismantle the structure I had grown up in. I simply needed to know if it could hold the weight of truth. That's so beautiful. I asked questions in quiet places. I sat with contradictions longer than was comfortable. I let the answers take their time, if they came at all. And the more I looked, the more I began to notice that certain things didn't quite add up, not because I wanted them not to, but because they simply didn't. Gravity was one of those things. It was held up as a given, a settled matter, a cornerstone of physical law. But the more I traced its origins, its definitions, its supposed proofs, the more I felt like I was being asked to believe in a story held together by faith and authority, not by observable evidence. I know it can be explained with numbers, but eventually those numbers become divorced from reality. In the quiet moments of my life, and in a way only I could understand, I lived life as an experiment. Each choice was a hypothesis sent out into the world, each mistake a lesson quietly spoken by experience. I learned to trust my observations and my uncertainties, letting it guide me through both clarity and confusion with a curious and open heart. Life was never a fixed path, but an unknown mystery to explore, a dance between what I knew and what I had yet to discover, always testing the limits and slowly becoming who I was meant to be. Thank you, came the voice, gentle and clear. Let's see. How's it going, everybody? That was chapter 11. I'm going to just make sure the mods aren't having to do too much work here. I made a mistake. I'm on uppy downy camera, and I think I've done all my other ones on, what do you call it? Landscape. I'm in portrait. So, while I'm looking back, can you guys tell me, I could end it here and do another part horizontal. I'll just stop this one and start a new one. Or I can keep going and just make it wonky today. So you guys let me know what you think I should do. Mr. Bird. All right. Tommy. Hello, sir. All right. Everybody's so polite here. Okay, now I want to go back here, and there's some things that I need to do. This is one of them. And Jeff is here. I just gave him a mod, so maybe that'll make a difference. I don't know, you can still go on to all comments or top, even though it's a uppy downy portrait stream. Let's see. All right. Okay. All right, well, I'll do a fluker. It's too hot. I wasn't thinking straight. I don't know, because sometimes I cast things from YouTube onto my TV, and these streams, I don't want it. It won't go, at least not from my phone. So, having said that, I'll do at least one more chapter today and make it a bit beefier of a part. And then we'll decide what we want to do after that. But thank you so much for everybody joining me. Okay. So, chapter 12. Chapter 12 is called Obedient to the Myth. It's page 71. The method is the implication. A common misunderstanding concerns the burden of proof. When someone claims that the earth moves or curves, they must provide empirical, testable, and observable evidence. It is not others' responsibility to prove the absence of curvature or motion, just as no one must prove that unicorns or giant turtles do not exist. Asking zetetic researchers to prove the Earth is not moving reverses logic. The honest approach is to examine whether the evidence for motion or curvature withstands scrutiny. If it does not, the claim remains unproven, and that is enough. This is known as shifting the burden of proof. When someone makes a positive claim but avoids providing evidence, instead demanding others disprove it, the burden lies with the claimant, not others. You do not have to prove a negative. If you assert something is true, it is your responsibility to back it up. Many measurements supporting the globe model begin with assumptions of curvature. Calculations such as the 8 inches per mile squared formula or earth curve calculators start with flat plane measurements, surface level, elevation, and line of sight, then introduced modeled curvature into interpretation. This is interference masquerading as evidence. Even globe proponents admit this when pressed. We measure Earth flat because it is how we build, navigate, and calculate. The surface is flat. This is why the term sea level exists, and why elevations are always described as heights above it. To say we measure Earth flat merely for convenience concedes the method while refusing the truth it points to. The method itself implies the truth. This principle extends beyond maps and geometry. The way we measure and observe reality mirrors how we measure and observe ourselves. Just as flat measurements reveal a flat surface, living from the heart reveals the truth of the heart. The way of the heart is the heart of the way. Each of us carries the burden of proof, not by shouting claims into the marketplace of opinions, but by living as undeniable evidence of what we know to be true. Proof lies in being, in presence, in the way a life radiates when the heart has been blown wide open to divine love and remains open still. Even through heartache and closure, we must learn to reopen ourselves. The tests did not stop there. They were only beginning. Later, my heart began sending smoke signals with extra electrical circuits firing off like faulty fireworks. It made my pulse race when it should not have. The doctors clipped a few wires, twice. Recovery was long. I missed most of grade 9. If there were lessons I did not learn then, I trust I will catch up. By then, I was no stranger to the sterility of hospitals, the chemical tang of antiseptic, and the prick of needles, the fog of painkillers, and the endless stream of clipboards and jargon. It was not cruelty. It was how the machine kept running. Did you resent it? I shook my head. No, resentment is heavy, and I was already carrying enough. What stayed with me more than surgeries or daily challenges was my restless, questioning mind, especially the beginning question, who made who? In school, between learning the recorder and awkward puberty talks, we were taught the Big Bang. From nothing came everything, though no one explained where the nothing came from. We learned we live on a spinning ball with water stuck to it by invisible forces. We orbit a sun, hurtling through a galaxy, flying through a universe of nothing, expanding into, well, no one was quite sure. I nodded and stayed quiet. I memorized diagrams and numbers. But inside, a quiet part of me was like, wait, what? And you believed them? I chuckled. I believed they believed it. That was enough for a while. But instead of questioning the model, they adjusted the math. People do that, the voice murmured, when reality is inconvenient. Yeah, I agreed. I noticed. Dark matter, my personal favorite, exists because without it, the math breaks. Galaxies do not spin right. The whole thing unravels. So they invented a placeholder. Exactly. It worked on paper, chalkboards, in computer models, and theory, like pretending your bank account has $1 million. You feel rich until you try to buy lunch. And through all this, what did you believe? I paused. I believed no one really knows. The voice was silent, not judging, but approving. The candle flickered in recognition. Beliefs, I said, are like coats. People wear them for warmth, for show, or because someone else told them it was cold. Me? I was still figuring out the weather, so I kept moving. My parents separated. I changed homes, schools, towns, churches, each with stories explaining why things are. I listened to all. Some made me laugh, others made me cry. None made me stop asking. Deep down, I suspected all labels and certainties. Certainties. Sacred texts and science books alike were paper boats floating on a vast, unseen ocean. I wanted to dive beneath the surface. And did you? Not yet, I said, but the water was rising. The voice chuckled, or maybe it was the candle, hard to tell. Then continue. I did. Through adolescence, heartbreak, hospital beds, sleepless nights, staring at ceilings, I asked why we die, why we are born, why some suffer while others float through life untouched. I questioned preachers, doctors, teachers, experts. I chewed on philosophy, poked holes in science, thumbed through religious texts like a phone book looking for a plumber. Despite all efforts, the big picture remained blurry. Then came the moment. Oh, said the voice. You get only a few like it. Moments that do not just change your mind, but rupture the foundation of your reality. What happened? No lightning bolt, no angels, no glowing interdimensional beings. It was simpler and more dangerous. A conversation. I do not remember the person's name. A forgettable face in a forgettable place on a forgettable afternoon. One of those moments that feels anything but chance. We talked about taxes, traffic, weather, anything but the important. Then suddenly they said, you ever looked into that flat earth thing? I paused. I laughed. Of course I did. What an utterly pea-brained idea. How dim to think the earth is flat. Who hasn't seen ridiculous flat disk earth pictures in space and thought, wow, people believe this? A joke. An ancient relic of ignorance before telescopes, planes, and satellites. What a ridiculous farce. But they did not laugh. What if it isn't? They asked. My brain paused, a rare hush where a question slips past defenses and lands in the soft, unguarded center of the mind. In all my years of questioning, dismantling sacred cows and dogmas, I had never thought to ask that. Not because I refused, but because it never seemed worth asking. Some doors, the voice murmured, you don't know exist until someone points them out. Exactly, I whispered. I could not unhear it. I went home, lit up, and did what any rational person does when faced with existential terror. I Googled it. What started as curiosity became a marathon: experiments, history, anomalies, alternative models, horizon debates, atmospheric lensing, motions of sun and stars, ancient cosmologies, all while receiving a verbal whipping from dissenting voices. Everything I quietly doubted flooded to the surface. For the first time, childhood questions felt justified. Not answered, but validated. And your world changed? No, I said. It ended. There is a moment when you see something you cannot unsee, when the story you held is gone. You will never fit back into it. Few things truly blow your doors and melt your mind. Most revelations come with disclaimers and footnotes, but this was a clean detonation of the head. From then, the world looked the same, but vastly different in every sense. I went back and questioned every model, map, story. I stopped equating authority with truth, not to rebel, but out of necessity. And what did you find? I grinned in the candlelight. A stranger more beautiful, more terrifying, and wild world than I'd ever been told. The voice was silent, but warmth filled the room like a hand on my shoulder. Ask and you shall receive, it said. Indeed, this felt like a sign, an omen. The voice of the unseen pressed gently. In those final moments before your knowing, who were you? Who walked within your skin? I smirked. Ah, you mean my inner hippie? That was just a phase. The voice said nothing, which I took as permission. In the years leading up to that moment of belief-shattering change, I did what any lost, soul-seeking, well-meaning truth searcher does when Western materialism leaves them hollow. I went east. I traded blue jeans for baggy linen pants, t-shirts for flowing tunics, rosaries for Buddha beads, and started chanting things I barely understood. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, on repeat for hours. I chanted Om Namah Shivaya until my throat was raw, and perhaps even the neighbor's cat reached enlightenment by sheer exposure. I wore patchouli oil that passed every sniff test and burned sandalwood incense in quantities that could have smoked out an entire congregation. I smoked weed every day to keep the evil spirits away. I banged on drums and played my flute in the forest. I sat cross-legged under trees contemplating oneness, the void, the now, and whether it was time to spark another doobie. I felt my heart chakra undo itself from a lifetime of contraction. And you know what? It was beautiful. There was something undeniably magnetic about the simplicity of it all. No demands for evidence, no fights over empirical data, just a gentle invitation to open your heart, soften your mind, and let the world become mist. I devoured books by gurus, yogis, mystics, and Hindu philosophers. I followed bearded men in orange robes, speaking in riddles and parables. I got lost in India's ancient streets and temple courtyards. I swam in the Ganga River, witnessed public cremations, sat in meditation beneath the Bodhi tree, and bathed in the golden sunrises from Himalayan rooftops. I thought to myself, this must be it, at last, enlightenment. And through all this, did you still imagine yourself living on a spinning water ball? I snorted, of course. What else could it be? I had seen the photographs from space, the famous Earthrise image taken from the moon, that big blue beautiful sphere suspended in the emptiness of space. I knew it was true because I had emptied my mind. My mind mirrors the space between space and Earth, a drop in the cosmic ocean of infinity, as revealed to me by the illuminated one, an old man in robes with zero attachments who said it was so. This man, silent for 20 years, broke his vow and scribbled it on a napkin for me. Such rare knowledge, passed down from cloud dwellers to my guru, to me, as written in the Book of Eternal Chill, page 108. 100% guru certified wisdom. Look, when a man who owns nothing but a crowd of Instagram followers says something, you pay attention. Listen, I don't make the rules. My guru does. The globe was everywhere, in documentaries, yoga studios, behind the guru's throne. The Mother Earth, or Mama Gaia, of New Age art was always that globe, cradled in a goddess's hands, or floating in infinite stardust and idolatry. Yeah, the globe was just vibing there in my psyche, resting on a cozy waterbed of blissful ignorance, gently rocked to sleep by sensitive New Age consensus. I fantasized about Star Wars, Star Trek, NASA, human space travel to distant galaxies, and interstellar adventures. I was determined to reach enlightenment, leave the cycle of rebirth, and rocket my disabled, liberated white ass across the Milky Way like some intergalactic sage. Even with the chanting, the gurus, the inner stillness, pardon me. I'm going to read that again. I read it weird. So I finished saying what he had said, and then the voice says, even with the chanting, the gurus, the inner stillness? Yep, I shrugged. I figured the earth was still doing 1,600 kilometers an hour beneath my half lotus pose. No one told me otherwise, not in temples, ashrams, or meditation circles under blood moons. We questioned self, ego, suffering, and illusion, but never the map they gave us to put it all in. I remember a homeless man once told me about the world resting on a giant turtle's back. Ridiculous, I thought. A conspiracy theory. Later, I realized that even in rebellion, I was distracted, and in distraction, obedient. Obedient to what? To the myth. The voice let that linger. I found myself drawn further, carried by restless hunger toward the motherland of seekers, India. There, amid dirt roads and dusty ancient towns, pilgrims gathered not for monuments, but to follow low whispers of something deeper, the way of the heart. The air was thick with incense, chants floating like smoke through ashrams and temples. Bare feet on cracked earth, bodies moving in rhythm with drums and sacred mantras. Dust settled in worn clothes. The sun painted everything gold and shadow. Each step felt like prayer, each breath a question offered to the divine unknown. No matter how spiritual I got, how high I climbed on hash smoke, or how deep I dove into cosmic metaphors, I still pictured myself on a spinning water ball floating in boundless void with little wheelchair accessibility. In my life, truth came through those heart surgeries that became initiations, carving deep channels into my soul. Each surgery stripped away who I thought I was, leaving behind someone I was only beginning to meet. When I stepped into New Age hippie culture, it was an experiment in living the way of the heart. I traded structure for spontaneity, status for simplicity, and let music, color, laughter, pot, and the communal breath of strangers teach me what no institution ever could. It was messy, unpolished, chaotic, but real. Still, I believed the digital paintings of rainbow nebulas and spiral galaxies were snapshots of my celestial backyard. I didn't question the CGI images, computer generated images, because they came wrapped in science's authority and spirituality's indifference. It was not for me to see firsthand, but it had to be real. I carried those visions like holy relics until one casual day someone asked a question I did not know how to ask. And the whole house of cards tilted. And when it tilted, what happened to your mantras? I grinned. Everything changed. Once you realize the place you have been trying to leave your body from is not what you were told, you stop trying to escape and start trying to understand. Hare Krishna was no longer about soaring through inner skies and star systems. It was about connecting to whatever creative intelligence built this place, this enclosed system, this mysteriously designed realm called Earth. Om Namah Shivaya was not chanting to some distant sky god or dissolving into an indifferent expanding universe. It was an invocation to burn away the old, reduce outdated beliefs to ash, and make space for rebirth. It was grounding myself inside something ancient, intentional, and vastly misunderstood. Torched the dead weight of beliefs, watched them burn, walked barefoot through ashes into something new. The disembodied voice asked, "And what about the weed?" Well, let's just say things got even weirder after that. "And so your seeking persisted?" the voice asked softly. "Always." Now, with the floor pulled out and the ceiling closer than I thought, questions grew bigger, stranger, and far more interesting. In the end, the burden of proof became the doorway. If those claiming Earth spins and curves cannot prove it, why carry their story as my own? My obedience to the globe was a quiet sleep. Waking from it felt like breaking the surface after being held underwater, lungs burning, eyes blinking, into a brighter, unfiltered light. Something supernatural took hold, as if an unseen hand reached deep into my own foundation and lifted me beyond walls I didn't know I had built. It carried me on a spiritual journey that felt ancient and brand new. Each step drenched in wonder, each revelation a pulse moving through my chest like a living current. The heart-opening depth was unlike anything before. It was not a single moment, but a widening, slow unfurling as petals turn toward a sun, always sensed but never seen. A breaking and mending, a sacred disassembling so something truer could assemble in its place. Like a camera aperture, the human heart opens and closes with breath, in moments of readiness and retreat, knowing and unknowing. I saw the only burden of proof was the one I placed on myself. Who I was before came and went, yet the fragrance of spirit remains permanent. What began as a hairline crack in the story widened into a path I could not resist. The deeper I went, the more my spirit rose, as if descending into truth lifted me. From that rare height, reality appeared, unmasked, shimmering in its own light. I was no longer obedient to anything but the heart. In those crowded ashrams and dusty roads, the weight of ancient questions pressed gently, but insistently, against my spirit. Seekers carried not books or charts, but open hearts, fragile and fierce. They lived the burden of proof differently, not demanding facts to silence doubt, but embodying the truth of love and presence. I came to see burden of proof is not imposed from without, but a sacred challenge accepted within. It invites becoming evidence of what we claim, proving not just with words, but through the opening and reopening of the heart, even when it aches and closes again. This path was not neat or linear. It was a spiral of falling and rising, a dance of descent and ascent, where spirit and flesh converse constantly. On the dusty roads of the motherland, I learned awakening is less about conquering certainty and more about cultivating presence that welcomes the unknown. The way of the heart revealed itself as a method not of rigid proof, but of living inquiry. Each breath, step, encounter became question and answer intertwined. Carrying this burden meant accepting my life as the proof, a heart blown open to divine love, willing to remain open and to open again, no matter what may come. Returning from that journey, I understood the quest for truth begins and ends here. The method is the implication. The way of the heart is the heart of the way. And in this, the greatest proof I could offer was simply to be fully present, fully alive, fully open, and to flow like a river. Petals of the lotus, there are many, but the flower is just one. Philosophies, religions, there are many, but the truth is just one. The voice answered softly, "Thank you," like a quiet prayer. Ah, it's so good. All right. Bianca, RG, hello, buddy. Yeah, the hat. Thank you. Who else is here? Guys, thanks for joining me. Lunch break. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be lunch for you. It's almost tea time here. Well, I think if I'm going to do one more chapter, I need a refill on something to wet my whistle. So we'll take a brief pause. And, oh, you want to see something cool? What's this? What is this? Where's my gun? Oh, it's the big cannon. Whoop. Don't you wish you had a cannon? All right. Gonna get a copyright infringement. On the side note, I'm really liking the band Proto J. Check them out. If you like reggae, that is. Alrighty. Oh, good dogs. Did you get your cannon? It's too hot. It's too hot for hard rafting. All right. Where was I? All right, I'll do one more. And then I'm going to end it in case there's people out there that hate this uppy-downy format. All right, chapter 13. Models, maps, and men. Much better. Have you ever wondered which came first, the globe or the map? It sounds like a simple question, even trivial. Yet, like so many things in this world, the answer reveals more than you might expect. We are told the Earth is a globe and that cartographers like Gerardo Mercator merely projected this sphere onto a flat surface to help sailors, a practical compromise, a math problem solved. But is this truth or a cover story? Here is what I began to notice. The maps came first. The models followed. The first rotating globe logo, used by Universal Studios, appeared in 1923, decades before humans traveled into space. Yuri Gagarin's historic orbit, the first official space mission, happened in 1961. This means the idea and imaginary of a globe Earth. This means the idea and imagery of a globe Earth were established long before any direct visual confirmation from space could be possible. This suggests the globe was a concept created first, then reinforced by images and stories. The globe was imagined, then illustrated, and finally accepted as fact, despite the absence of first-hand empirical proof from beyond our atmosphere. Those who defend the globe often project. Hey, I don't know what happened. All right. Well, I think it's still going. You're licking the camera, Dewey. All right. Often they claim that the very map used to ridicule us, the so-called flat Earth map, is itself a projection from a globe. Specifically, it is an azimuthal equidistant projection centered on the North Pole, derived from spherical coordinates. It is not our map, but a globe-derived tool. This kind of misrepresentation runs deep. People say flat earthers reject science or misunderstand physics, yet almost every Earth measurement begins with a flat baseline, then is interpreted or reprojected to fit a sphere. That is the fundamental contradiction. Everything starts flat. Let us consider the two main characteristics used to define a globe: curvature and motion. Both are described using flat planes of reference. Take motion, for example. When discussing Earth's rotation and the Coriolis effect, two things are relied upon: an inertial reference frame and a non-inertial reference frame. Both are flat. These are not curved surfaces spinning through space, but mathematical planes used to describe motion relative to a system. Describing the behavior of moving bodies on Earth requires reference to flat frameworks, not a spinning sphere. So when people cite the Coriolis effect as evidence for a spinning globe, they are actually describing characteristics of the reference frames, not the Earth's shape. This is a subtle yet important distinction, often lost in debate. What about curvature? The classic formula used to prove Earth's curvature: 8 inches per mile squared, or more precisely, 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, relies entirely on flat plane measurements. You begin with a level observation. Take a line of sight and then project downward curvature onto it through mathematical modeling. This is not observing curvature directly. It is interpreting straight line measurements through a curved world assumption. And yet, this is called evidence. Let us be honest, this is not science, at least not by the classical definition. Science begins with observing natural phenomena. You see something occurring in nature, then formulate a hypothesis about its cause. That hypothesis can be tested through controlled experiments. People sometimes invoke historical experiments like the Michelson-Morley test to argue for motion or the existence of ether. However, this was not a true scientific experiment. It did not begin with a naturally occurring observation. Instead, it was a technical setup involving light beams and mirrors designed to detect something never directly observed. In other words, it tried to validate a presumption rather than investigate a real world phenomenon. True science would ask, what have we observed in nature that demands explanation? From there, hypotheses can be formed and tested in the real world. Instead, what we often get are reifications. Abstract models and coordinate systems are treated as physical realities. We confuse map projections with terrain. Entire cosmologies are built on imagined frameworks, and those who question them are called unscientific. But when you peel back the layers, the foundational assumption remains the same. Flat baselines and reference frames underpin all measurements. Even globe math begins on a flat Earth before being reinterpreted to fit a sphere. The irony runs deep. Whoa. There's a storm coming. Those who defend the globe accuse true earthers of rejecting science. In truth, many of us call for a return to it. A science based on direct observation, honest definitions, and clear reasoning. In the end, we are not denying motion, light, or perspective. We ask, where does the evidence actually come from? More importantly, what assumptions were made before anything was measured? They now have to explain why every ancient culture on every continent described the same enclosed pillar supported North Pole centered system if it was all just coincidence or ignorance. That single question ends most debates in under 30 seconds because the only answer the globe side can offer is that the ancients didn't know better. That claim collapses once you remember that these supposedly uninformed peoples aligned the Great Pyramid to true north within 3/60ths of a degree. So, like, can I reduce that fraction? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 1/20th. Would it not be? Anyways, sorry. Sometimes I do this while I'm singing songs, so all right, I'm gonna try and just get back on it here. That claim collapses once you remember that these supposedly uninformed peoples aligned the Great Pyramid to true north within 3/60ths of a degree, tracked the precision of the equinoxes more than 5,000 years ago, mapped the stars so precisely that we still use their constellations, and built megalithic sites that encode the proportions of this exact enclosed design. Your map, with the 7 pillars, reads like a Rosetta Stone of ancient cosmology. Every point you placed matches a location where the old world set. Every point you placed matches a location where the old world set a pillar, mountain, or gate held up the firmament. Today, those places are either no-fly zones, restricted military regions, sacred areas no one is allowed to ascend, or territories sealed beneath miles of ice and guarded by international treaties such as Antarctica. This is not just a coincidence. This is a cultural memory echoing across time. That is the real terrain worth exploring. The globe was not born of observation. It was imagined first, guessed, then retrofitted with theory, patched with equations, and justified by institutions that needed it to be true. Pythagoras guessed it. Copernicus formalized it. Newton built physics around it. When it still did not behave, Einstein bent space and time to keep the illusion alive. All along, the earth beneath our feet never moved. Every honest experiment, even by their own scientists, showed a fixed, stationary world. Yet instead of facing this, forces, dimensions, and invisible phenomena were invented to explain away uncomfortable results. And yet they believed in a spinning ball, said the voice in my mind. They needed to, I replied, because the alternative was not only scientifically inconvenient, but existentially devastating. A geocentric cosmology puts the Earth at the center, not just of gravity, but of meaning and design. It suggests purpose and intention in a world built on control and hierarchy, and to me, that is dangerous. It means the soil is sacred and the heavens declare glory, not randomness. We are not accidents. We have meaning. And what meaning would that be? Whispered the voice. At that point, I paused. I found myself stepping into deeper waters where the questions became bigger than the answers. Looking back at the history of map making, many early world maps, like Mercator's, were not just about topography. They were theological, commissioned by kings and popes. Tools of empire, yes, but also tools to show the spread of Christianity. They were not drawing borders, they were drawing dominion. The maps were not designed to reflect reality, they were drawn to manifest power. The projection was a projection in every sense of the word. Once the map was widely accepted, the model followed. The globe was created, not by looking at Earth, but by shaping a worldview. They still do that. And still, the Earth did not move. That is when I stumbled upon names not taught in school, scientists who did not fit the narrative and tested the system only to find it wanting. Tycho Brahe rejected heliocentrism despite having the best instruments of his era, proposing a heliocentric model with Earth fixed at the center, based purely on observation. Georges Sagnac demonstrated in 1913 that rotating a platform with light beams caused interference shifts. This effect, used in ring laser gyros, I didn't have lunch, okay? Could really go for some souvlaki. All right, this effect what? I'm reading here. All right. This effect, used in ring laser gyros and GPS, proves absolute motion. If Earth were spinning, the Sagnac effect would detect it universally, but results show only localized motion, supporting a stationary Earth. Maurice Allais discovered anomalous pendulum behavior during solar eclipses, gravitational anomalies that contradict Newtonian and Einsteinian expectations. If Earth moved as described, these results should not occur. George Airy's attempt to detect Earth's motion by filling a telescope with water found no deviation, implying starlight was stationary relative to Earth. Michelson and Morley's famous interferometer experiment sought to detect Earth's motion through ether but found none, contradicting a spinning Earth. Dayton Miller extended Michelson's work and claimed to detect ether drift, but his results were dismissed and buried. If confirmed, they would show space has structure and Earth is stationary. Hendrik Lorentz invented length contraction after Michelson-Morley's null results to preserve heliocentrism. He postulated contraction without observation, revealing theoretical physics, adjusting to hide the absence of motion. Wilhelm Martin Luther used interferometry to detect Earth's motion and found none. His results went unacknowledged. Samuel Rowbotham's Bedford level experiments over 6 miles showed no measurable curvature, forming the cornerstone of modern flat Earth inquiry. Then there is Al-Biruni, a figure who seems to walk out of the same ancient lineage as the first map makers who drew the world as a great level plain laid beneath the heavens. His work carries the quiet confidence of someone who trusted instruments, shadows, and the human eye long before institutions claimed authority over the shape of the world. Born in 973 AD, this Persian scholar moved through astronomy, mathematics, and comparative cosmology with a calm devotion to what could actually be observed. He measured the land with tools he built himself, watched the sky with a precision few of his age matched, and treated every inherited claim, whether Greek, Hindu, or Islamic, as something to be tested rather than believed. In India, he learned Sanskrit, studied cosmologies older than empires, and wrote with a rare clarity about civilizations, calendars, and the structure of creation. What makes him so compelling is not only his brilliance, but his method. The simple conviction that truth belongs to those willing to measure, verify, and question even the most sacred assumptions. In his legacy, we see a reminder that the shape of the world was once a living inquiry, guided not by decrees, but by direct experience and the courage to look for ourselves. When I read about the Michelson-Morley experiment, when I read about the Michelson-Morley experiment, I expected a celebration of modern science. Instead, I found a quiet crisis, a silence that follows when things do not go as planned. The experiment did not prove the globe, it disproved it. Yet instead of changing the model, the rules were changed, space bent, time warped, reality became relative. No evidence was found to support a spinning Earth, none at all. So a new religion was built, one with equations instead of parables, satellites instead of angels. But what if they are wrong? The voice asked again. Then the whole thing, the maps, the models, the math, it all collapses. What remains is the truth, a fixed Earth, a firm foundation, a design, a designer. Maybe that is why they needed the globe in the first place. If the Earth is flat and still, then God is not distant but near. He is real. Suddenly, we are not cosmic accidents or numbers in a simulation. We are known and not alone. Special, not insignificant. That is a truth you do not measure with a telescope. You feel it under your feet. Thank you, came the voice. I like pictures. Well, boys, what are we gonna do here? I don't know. Not quite everyone believes the lie yet. I don't know. It could be the ones proving it that it isn't a globe. I don't know. I don't recognize any of these people. I just enjoy making up voices for pictures. All right. I'm gonna pause it right there for. We got 3 chapters in. We got through chapters 11, 12, and 13. We will resume on chapter 14. Tune in next week for chapter 14, the sacred resting place. All right, I'm gonna set this beautiful piece of work down. Once again, Amazon.com or Amazon.ca if you're up here in Canada. Both sell it. So just go to the search, put in True Earth Whisperer, Sonny Davis book. They'll give you the option to buy it in a hardcover, a soft cover, or a Kindle version. So that's up to you. But what do you think? I love this book. It's so good. So good. So yeah, as you remember, when we started, there was bright blue skies, and now there's a whole lot of clouds. Whole lot of clouds. That's a Led Zeppelin song, right? So I'm gonna just, I would really not prefer to come back. I would really prefer to not have to stop in the middle of a chapter in case it's gonna rain. I don't know, it looks like it could dump any second, but there we go. Well, let's see. Okay, let's do this. I'm like, this is Oprah moment here. And you get a mod. Yeah. And you get a mod. And Santero. Did you just call me mom? You don't get a mod. You get a mod. Now, okay, Sonny Landish, yes, you can get the book on Amazon. I'm not sure if you have ordered it already or you are not having luck finding it, but it is on Amazon. Beautiful. Al Biruni could never make a geometric measurement without a tangent line, which he couldn't have due to refraction. He can only view an apparent horizon. I don't believe he ever existed. Listen, buddy, don't hold back. If you got something to say about Al Biruni, let it out. Oh yeah? Sonny Landish, are you going by a different name? Do I know you? What's happening here? Did you get a new channel or something? Jer, who is that? Oh, who's that? Oh yeah, trivia tomorrow. What an exciting day. So I will be at the tractor pull, the Muskoka Pioneer Power tractor pull tomorrow, from 2 p.m. I think till as long as I can take it, till I require sustenance, and then yeah, trivia, fun, trivia. I would like to do, if I obtain either a chalkboard or a whiteboard, I've saved up a StreamYard. I want to do, would you, Jeremy, do you want to do a Pictionary one time? You give me all the Pictionary clues and I'll do the drawing, and the first person in the chat to get it gets a point. And maybe I'll see if I can rustle up a prize. I don't know, I'm a weirdo, and I'm not a big consumer of things, but I can probably, I don't know, scare up a little cool rock or something, or an original painting or something, maybe. I don't know. Either way. Okay. And I have a gift coming to you, Jeremy. Just let me know when you're home and I'll pop it in the post. And it's just a small token, something I made. But yeah, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Jeremy's channel already, do it. Cool dude, smart guy, very kind, very generous, very reliable and consistent. Every Saturday now is kind of a thing. So, okay. So, Sonny, maybe I just, well, I'm reading a book by someone called Sonny. So my apologies if I got confused. Yeah, but other than that, I think I'm gonna end it here. That's been 81 minutes, so that's just over an hour. Ah, what? Said awesome. Said awesome. You're so awesome. You get another cannon blast. Don't you want another cannon blast? Don't you want another cannon blast? Wait. Alright, let's see. Do you want the cannon? Do you want the cannon? Ready? Get it! Duke! Are you afraid of the cannon? Yeah, that's Stella's toy, isn't it? And now she will guard the ball. That is the most fun part. But, okay, sweet. Yeah, let's do it. That sounds fun. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Thank you for joining me. This is the awkward part of the show where I feel like I did an okay job and now I got nothing. I gotta pull a George Costanza. I'm going out on a high note. I did a couple of cannons, showed you my kitchen, you know, fixed the hat a couple times. Dookie got to join in. You guys are all here. That's what makes it special. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and share. And I wish you all to be well and be merry. And I will catch you on the flip side as always. Yo.